We just got the first two episodes of Skeleton Crew, which is the latest Star Wars series on Disney+.
Yeah, I watched them. I'm liking the nostalgic 80s movies vibes from it. Everyone's talking about how it's like a Goonies mashup with Star Wars.
I think that's what the creators John Watts and Christopher Ford are going for, at least what they have publicly shared. It's still really early in the show for me to get a good sense of where this is going. So we have these four kids, Wim, Neil, Fern, and KB, who get launched into space on a ship, and they land at a space pirate port, and then they meet this mysterious character played by Jude Law, who may or may not be a Jedi or some kind of Force user.
I remember you talking about tone and atmosphere from movies, and I definitely get that in Skeleton Crew as a series. It makes me feel what it would be like, to be a kid on an adventure with some friends, and there's danger and wonder and all kinds of cool things to see and experience.
Which maybe is why the show was made, or at least one of the many reasons. Without knowing more about the story for the rest of the season, I'm asking myself, is Skeleton Crew a self-contained story in the Star Wars universe, or does it tie into the Skywalker trilogy or some other bigger story arc? I really don't know, and that's kind of indicative of a shift in how Star Wars as a brand and franchise has shifted in the past 5 years. Star Wars was the biggest cinematic franchise for over 4 decades, and the last movie we got was 2019's Rise of Skywalker. But without a recent film, we're only getting streaming shows and some games, and Star Wars has to now compete with other forms of entertainment.
I was thinking about that a lot recently. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was talking to my niece and nephew, and when I asked them if they liked Star Wars, they said they didn't like it at all. They knew who Baby Yoda is, but they don't want to watch the older movies or the newer streaming shows.
That's very revealing, even just from a personal anecdote. Let's think about this even deeper. With Skeleton Crew, we have a show that for all intents and purposes is family entertainment that would resonate well during the height of the original trilogy, or even the prequels. Think about how popular the show could have been at that time, feeding the hunger for more Star Wars stories, assuming it's done well. But now in the present day, YouTube, TikTok, and gaming have taken over. Instead of franchises, I think a younger Gen Z and Gen Alpha audience seem to be turning to content creators as their entertainment, at least that is a theory.
We're basically watching each other instead of watching fictional movies and shows.
I think movies and shows still have their place in the entertainment sphere for audiences, but it's just taking up less space as our time gets filled by independent creators. There's more connection and community interaction for audiences with YouTube, TikTok, and gaming. Traditionally, Hollywood big studio entertainment has been focused on crafting a movie or show and marketing it outwardly to the masses. Star Wars was one of the biggest examples of this, but now I'm wondering if a new hybrid model is emerging. For example, could we see content creators partnering with filmmakers and game developers to produce smaller scale original stories and games, and then distributing them directly to their audiences? New studios could be formed through this.
It's so much work to be a consistent YouTuber growing your audience. How could anyone find time to make an indie movie or a game?
That's why I said maybe the content creator partners with other creatives who take on the primary roles to make the movies or games. You have to delegate the workload and manage it.
Okay, I get it now. I can see someone like a Kai Cenat or iShowSpeed, putting out their own movie or game because their audiences are loyal.
It feels like this is already happening to some degree in the current media culture.
I wonder if you could take stories from the Star Wars extended universe, like those books and comics, and have content creators put out their own movies and animations based on it. That would be wild to see.